In this session, we are going to see about foreign key constraints. In the previous sessions, we have seen constraints on a single table, meaning the values on a particular field of a table are restricted. However, foreign key constraint relies on linking of more than one table. So let us see how this actually works by following up on a couple of tables based on customers and sales orders. So let's create a table called customer, which actually collects all the customer information. So like ID, which I declare as a primary key. Then I create the name of the customer, which is a varchar. And then the customer address. Okay, I create this table. Now I'm going to create another table for the orders. Sorry about that. So I'm going to create an order table made by these customers. So it is going to be create table customer orders. Okay, wherein I have an order ID, which is a number, and also the primary key of this table. Okay, then I have to know which customer placed this order. So I need to have the customer ID, which is customer ID. This is going to be a number, but I cannot have a customer who placed an order who is not there in the customers table, right? So this is going to be referring to the ID field in the customer table. Okay, so I say customer ID number references the table customers, the field ID. Okay, and now I'm going to give an order date, which is a date field on when the order is placed, following by order amount, which I'm simply writing as amount of order. So this is just going to be a number. Let's see and create this table. Okay, so the table is inserted. Now let us insert records into these tables and see how these tables behave. Now first let me insert record into the customer table. Okay, insert into customers, values, 1 for the ID. I'm giving some name, say Jack, and he's placed out of Chennai. Okay. Now let me also insert one more record. Let me simply copy this. I'm going to change the ID as 2 and say this customer is Jill, who is coming from, say, Bangalore. Okay, so 2 records are inserted for this table. Now let us try to insert records into the customer order table. Insert into customer orders. So the values that I'm going to give, the first one is the order ID. Say for example that is going to be 1. Now I need to choose the customer ID from this table. So I have the option of either choosing the order is either placed by Jack or Jill, because these are my 2 customers. Let's assume Jack is placing the order and the order date is, say, 1st August and the amount is, say, 1000. Okay, so I try to insert the record. This will get inserted. Now I'm just going to use this again. Now I'm going to say another order is going to be generated. But this time I'm trying to give the customer ID as 3, which means there are no customer IDs with this name. Remember, there are only 2 customers, 1 and 2 that we have. But however, we are trying to insert a record into the customer order table saying the customer ID as 3. Now let's see what happens. So this will say parent key is not found because you don't have a customer ID as 3 in your parent table. So the customer table is usually typically referred as a parent and the customer's orders is referred to as child. So without a parent you cannot have a child. So the same logic goes here. So since you don't have a record for customer ID 3, this doesn't work. So now let me change this into 2. Okay. Now let me run. So now what happens? One row gets inserted. Now this is a basic working of how a parent and a child work together. Now there are different options in this itself in foreign key. So the first thing is, how do you modify or update a parent key? For example, let us try to update first. We will work on the details of this syntax later. Okay. ID is equal to 3. For now, let us simply follow this. Okay, this is the field name is ID only. Okay, customers where ID is equal to 2. Sorry, I'm going to set ID is equal to 3 where customer ID is equal to 2. Let's see what happens. It says violated because you don't have a child ID for 3. Not only that, for example, let me delete this particular record. What is this field name? Order ID, right? So order ID equal to 2. So I am deleting the second row from this table, right? Now let me see once again what are the rows. Okay, you have only one row. Now let us try to update it. There are no issues because there is no more a child for the ID 2. However, if there is an ID, if there is a child for this particular ID, typically even updates are not allowed. Okay, so now let us reinsert this particular record. Sorry. We've already set it as 3, right? So I need to change this as 3 as well. Now it will get inserted. Let's see the records in each of these tables. Now it will show 1 and 3 for customer ID because these are the values in the customer tables also. Okay, you have only 1 and 3 for this as a key. That is why in the child table also we are having order IDs only 1 and 3. With this, I'll stop this session. In the next session, we will see how foreign key responds for delete operations as well. Thank you.